Ghost Beast!
Ghost Beast.
A horror podcast. I'm Todd.
I'm Becca.
And we're going to watch every horror movie ever made. So hang out with us for a spoiler-free review and content warning, followed by our full thoughts. Because today, we watched The Ugly Stepsister from 2025, directed by Emily Blichfeld. And I think this was actually her first feature movie, which is fucking crazy.
That is crazy.
Love to see it, especially because this movie had absolutely insane art direction.
Yes, oh my God.
I think that's a standout thing. So this is a new Shudder movie. I was kind of captured right away when I heard about this, because essentially it is the Cinderella story told from the perspective of the ugly stepsister. Is her name Elvira in the movie too, in the story?
I don't remember. Possibly, I don't know.
But that's like such a slam dunk setup that immediately is like, okay, I want to see what that is. And yeah, it's very much like a body horror type of movie.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like after The Substance, it's like, yeah, this shit so hot right now. Like feminist body horror, let's go.
Yeah.
And if I had to kind of sum up how I feel about it in a non-spoiler way, it's that like, yeah, by telling it from her perspective and really leaning into that, it really does give the story like this completely different meaning. That's really cool. It just seems like such a gimme for this kind of genre. And yeah, like I said, the effects are great. Really leans into making you super fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah. While also still looking really cool.
It looks great while it's doing it. And yeah, and then the art direction is just like nuts. Like everything from the the sets and the wardrobe and everything is great, very period appropriate.
Yeah, the props are all like super well crafted.
Yeah, but there's so many shots where it's almost like you're looking at a diorama where they set up this kind of still life and everything looks so meticulously placed that it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the opening scene, you see this like grotesque dinner that's set up, and it's like every maggot, every ribbon is like so
they definitely little tweezers
placed.
Just placing all those maggots in the exact locations.
Yeah, it's like watching a still life, and it's so cool.
It's like a painting.
Yeah.
And there are a few different setups like that throughout the movie. It is beautiful.
Yeah.
And even what they do with like the character design for the ugly stepsister Elvira, who is the center of the movie really. She is the subject of, I would say, all of the body horror.
Yes.
I think.
Just about.
Yeah, and the way that like changes her appearance as it goes is also just like exquisite. Like just really, really gorgeous movie. This is the kind of art that you love to see in horror. But I guess, yeah, the movie does seem to have a lot of references to the Cinderella story. I think it's more based on like the Grimm's fairy tale version of it.
Well, it's actually...
Oh, yeah. You said you got some hot trivia.
I'm so excited for this. It's actually based off a novel by Gregory Maguire, who also wrote Wicked.
Okay.
Yes.
I see why you just couldn't wait to tell me about that.
When I found that out...
Is that just what he does?
I guess he just writes cool shit.
Well, I mean, like, they're very much like, hey, here's a Disney story. Let's tell it from a different perspective.
I mean, I don't know the timeline on it. I don't know.
I just mean, like, that is a very specific niche, and, like, I guess I'm here for it, sure.
I am completely here for it, and I love that Ugly Stepsister has, like, almost the same amount of, like, attention to detail in the production design as Wicked. Like, that's just something, as a horror fan and a Wicked fan, to see those married already is so cool.
I'll give it to them. Seeing that devotion to art design in a horror movie, always here for it.
Yes.
Let's go.
That is my favorite thing.
But it's cool. It is like, there seems to be a lot of references to the story that you're going to have to hold my hand through, because I don't even remember the Disney movie. I don't think I've seen it since I was a very young child.
I think I started to pick up on it a little faster than you did when we were watching.
Yeah.
Just because I assume you weren't paying attention when your sisters were watching
Oh,
Cinderella.
well, yeah. That's the thing about growing up with sisters, is there are a lot of movies that I half remember because they were on in the background.
Yeah.
A lot of The Secret Garden in this house, a lot of Freaky Friday, and then a lot of these Disney movies.
Yeah, your sisters have very good taste.
They have the taste of a girl growing up in the 90s. Like, let's be real.
Yes. Which is perfect.
I don't know if I would call it exquisite taste. It's more like, yeah, this is everyone.
Yeah, it's relatable.
Sure. Before we get into spoilers, I mean, that's just kind of what you can expect. It really is just like when you tell it from this different perspective and lean into it, it is interesting where the story can go with that. And the fact that, like, Cinderella herself, who I guess her real name is Agnes, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing her as almost this, like, villain type character and the object of jealousy. Mm-hmm. Like, she isn't depicted in the most sympathetic way in the story, even though she's not, like, a bad person.
No. I think seems to be more of a victim of circumstance than anything.
Yeah.
But she's also a complicated teenage girl. So
that's what I'm trying to get at, is that it's not as simple as, like, Elvira, the stepsister, is the good guy and Cinderella's the evil, bad person.
Yeah.
It's like both of them are very complex characters who are sympathetic in some ways and maybe not so much in other ways.
Yeah, there's like almost kind of like two different viewpoints in the patriarchy, almost. Mm-hmm. Just like different ways of seeing how the patriarchy affects women, kind of.
Yeah, that stuff is interesting. And then, the art design is just like the icing on top for all of this. It's a really cool movie. Really surprising. I think we heard about it like a week before it came out. And it was just like, all right, like, I'm here for this.
Yeah, it exceeded my expectations. Like, I loved it so much.
It's not hard to convince people to watch it, though, because it is a pretty strong concept. I already told a couple people about it who were just like, what the fuck? That sounds awesome. I think all that's left to say is with the content warning here, I think the main thing is just the body horror. It's like, it is...
It does some stuff with eyes. So
with
you don't like eye stuff.
With teeth.
Yeah. There are like broken bones and stuff like that, and dismembered bones.
Look, I mean, it's when you're going to something and you know it's body horror, you got to be prepared for it to get pretty gnarly. And those are kind of like the go-to things. Like, we're going to make you real uncomfortable with this. Like, we just saw Bring Her Back, and that's got teeth stuff, too. That's just that's the layup right there.
Yeah, I can vividly see it in my head still.
Yeah. And I guess there's stuff that deals with, like, anorexia,
and body dysmorphia.
Yes. Yeah. Which, again, like, this is the substance genre now. You're kind of in for that.
Yeah.
So it's just something to be aware of, but I don't feel like it crosses any lines with any of that stuff, at least from my perspective,
no.
Whatever the fuck that means.
I mean, it all depends on where you are in your healing journey, I guess. You know, maybe if you're not ready to, like, get triggered by that, maybe shelf this one for a little bit, come back to it, which is okay.
Yeah. I think that's all I got. Loved it. But why don't we'll get into spoilers and really talk about it.
You doing okay?
Losing a little bit, but I'm okay.
You're missing the best drums.
Oh, yeah.
Look at those.
Yeah, we're getting it. That's your laugh.
Oh, yeah, that's
I always know that when I'm editing and it's coming up on that, it's like, oh, about to hit a banger right now. I did think it was cool from the very beginning. It's doing weird stuff with, like, technology. Mm-hmm. I think you even called out it's very much like It Follows. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, obviously this is supposed to be taking place in the past, but they have, like, some weirdly modern technology like mixed in. That's cool. And especially when it comes to, like, the plastic surgery stuff, it's like it is primitive versions of that, but it doesn't feel like it's pulled from history. It's just more let's just do whatever the fuck we want and fuck people up in the process.
Yeah, that goes along with a lot of the rest of the art direction too. Totally. It's like there's this, like, marriage between, like, retro, vintage, and, like, using modern trends and stuff like that.
I appreciate doing it this way where you're not just trying to be like completely period appropriate,
Yeah.
where instead it's like, what's going to be the coolest thing we can do here?
Yes.
It's like, let's just do that. Yeah, that's cool as shit. But yeah, I mean, with this story, since this is from what?
You look like you're in a boy band. Just it's making me laugh.
So since this is from the stepsister's perspective, I have to keep forcing myself to say Elvira because that's right.
I think so.
Instead of Elvira.
They said Elvira.
From Elvira's perspective, there's a real focus on the idea that, you know, her mom married into this family with this much older guy because they need the money. And then when he dies and they realize he doesn't have any money, like what that means as a woman living in this time period.
Yeah.
It's like, can't just go work at Walmart and support your kids. Like, you got to marry some rich asshole to make sure that they're secure.
Yeah, I really like that is a point in this movie because, of course, even though the timeline's really ambiguous, it's still, like, referencing to, like, how women have had to rely on men for any sort of, like, financial independence at all. I mean, it does also play with the idea of how Cinderella fell in love with just some like stable boy, and
yeah, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, well, it shows how tragic that can be. Like a woman in that time period basically has the choice: do I fall in love for love, or do I fall in love for money so I can survive?
You can see how as women become more independent, men become more like, well, hold on a second. How am I supposed to get a woman then?
Yeah.
It is that control that has existed since the beginning of time. But yeah, that is the thing that puts all the pressure on Elvira. But Elvira seems like hopelessly in love with this prince who just winds up being like a complete fuckboy because of course he is.
Yeah, that's fitting.
And it's funny that like, yeah, they started out as, I mean, it's the title of the movie, it's The Ugly Stepsister. She's supposed to be this ugly person who has to be transformed to be fitting for the prince. And it was just funny to me that it's like the way we depict that she is ugly is give her the worst haircut I've ever seen in my life.
It was so funny. Immediately we were like the meme from I Think You Should Leave.
Oh my God, yes. She just looks like the guy from I Think You Should Leave with the dog hair. And I couldn't get past that because it just seemed like she's obviously an attractive actor, but they just somehow found the worst hairstyle together.
Yes.
And that's what leads us down the body horror road at the center of this movie. Because what do we get? So I think she starts out with braces, right? And the removal of the braces. This is the thing that like it goes into like a lot of the ambiguous technology. Because first of all, I don't think, did they have braces like that back then?
I don't think so.
I don't, like, braces are one of those things that feels like ancient technology that should be updated. I guess it is now with like Invisalign and shit.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like, it's one of those things you grow up with and it seems normal, but when you think about it, it's like, why are we doing this? This seems like very primitive.
Braces, I had braces when I was in middle school and it sucked. Yeah. It sucked. It was painful. It did work, but it was painful and embarrassing. Yes, and expensive.
Was your removal like it was in this movie where he just kind of yanks them off?
I mean, he didn't yank. He did like, they gotta pull them out. Like I told you, where my dad would have to like wind it up.
That's so fucking crazy.
It's like medieval torture. Yeah, exactly. And it hurt too.
It's like medieval Maybe this is the most period appropriate part of the movie, actually. So that shit was awful. But then like the part with the eyelashes. This is actually a good example of what I mean, because like fake eyelashes to me feel like more modern. Were women doing this? You know better than I do. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
As far back as I know, I think this was more of like something in the 60s because Audrey Hepburn had like, she had unnaturally long lashes. Like it was like a quote unquote defect. And because it looked so beautiful on her and people loved it, it became like a trend.
Okay.
That is what I learned. So.
Because that feels to me like a very modern thing, the fake eyelashes. But then their interpretation of it,
Well, I do think also you could go back to like Egyptian times too, where there was like.
But were they using fake eyelashes
I don't
or
know.
just makeup?
It might have been just makeup to appear like that.
We don't know what the fuck we're talking about, okay?
I don't know. I don't know exactly where it started.
I'm surprised you don't have that intrinsic female knowledge that just like seeps into your brain. Like,
I know. I just need to reach out to AWA and ask.
Yeah. Why didn't you do that before this? But that's what I'm talking about, though. I'm going to just run with like that's a more modern thing because I like that they take that modern beauty standard and it's like, what is the version of it that we would have back here? And that means like using a needle and thread to sew them into your fucking eyes.
I absolutely love that scene. I love it so much.
I love it too, but it's fucking awful.
It looks so cool, and the way they do it is so gross, and it just looks... I want my eyelashes to look like that all the time.
I didn't think you were going to go that way.
I love that. Okay. I think it's so cool looking.
They did look cool, but like...
I don't want to do that, though.
Well, yeah, that's... I would assume so. The effect of having them sewn in, though, like... I'm guessing there was some superimposing going on with the eyeball underneath.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a guess, I would say...
We do watch a lot of Corridor Digital, so we are
Well, I'm also a special effects artist, too. If I had to guess how they did it, I would assume they got, like, a latex head and, like, sewed... They were, like, sewing the lashes onto that. And then the eye was probably like green or blue screened in, and then they recorded. Yeah, they had to record that footage and then superimpose them together. That's what. That's in my brain how I would break that down.
I assumed it was something like that because there's no way you would put the needle that fucking close to your eyeball.
I can't.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
But that was probably the most brutal. We do also have the tapeworm, which feels like. Again, this is the old-timey version of Ozempic, basically, which also is like very good modern commentary.
Yes. Well, the standards on women to be thin have been around long before.
Well, yes, but I mean like specifically the idea of like, hey, let's just take something that's gonna make you real skinny real fast.
The way they depicted that tapeworm was just so cute. I
did not think it was going that way.
I thought it was so cute. With this little locket with this tiny little tapeworm in it and a bow. And I just think that is so cute. I love that.
Okay.
And it fits in with the aesthetic they're building.
It was cool. It was like the little tapeworm egg on the little pillow.
And you could like see the little tapeworm inside.
That was like very old-timey, sophisticated medicine.
Yeah.
You know?
But what's so special about that is that moment... She could just like hand her a tapeworm egg, but no, it was carefully crafted,
That's not how a
so
classy
beautiful.
Woman does it.
I loved that. It's just a very striking image.
That was cool. I think I've seen that image shared a lot because is like pretty iconic.
Yeah.
But when seeing the effects of that, though, the way that she is starving and her hair is falling out and everything, and then of course the scene when she finally takes the antidote and 8,000 tapeworms come out of her.
Yeah, that was so gross. I loved it.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was a weird effect too. That one looked crazy. That felt like the effect that you would make so people can share it on TikTok 1,000 times. We skipped the nose. I think the nose was after the teeth, where this dude just fucking... I guess this is their version of a nose job, is break their nose, make them wear a weird Batman villain mask.
Yeah.
And then... Question mark, perfect nose.
Yeah, I think what I love that one so much because it's this like, again, very intricately made, like almost steampunk looking like nose clamp and these very dainty like velvet pink ribbons that like hold it together, and it's just so cool looking.
And then of course cutting her toes off so she can fit into the glass slipper. I mean, like. There is an angle to this, totally, that's like the pain that women put themselves through for the sake of beauty. We got our old-timey Ozempic, our fake lashes, our braces, which, like, I mean, we lived through that one. That one's a little too real. And then, there are plenty of cultures that have that tradition of, like, breaking the feet to make them super small and dainty. Yeah, it's cool to lean in on all of that in a body horror way.
Yeah, the concept is served. Like It works.
It's so obvious, but it
Yeah.
works. But what about like the Cinderella stuff? Because I know that with my like very basic memory of this, as Elvira is getting set up to win over the prince, of course she winds up in competition with Agnes, because Agnes just seems to be like so naturally talented and beautiful and everything. And so when when that jealousy drives her to destroy Agnes's dress, isn't in the story, was it like mice that repair it?
Yeah, these little seamstress mice that helped.
Oh yeah.
But in this film, I loved that it was like maggots.
Yeah,
and-
they were like silkworms
Yeah.
that came out of her dad's
That's
corpse.
it. How cool. Oh my God, that looked so
It's very
cool.
There's a lot of cool conceptual stuff
Mm-hmm.
in this movie that just gets executed like in the best way possible.
Yeah, they have like this moment of like her talking to her mom, like who is like this ghost, but she's also kind of like her fairy godmother, kind of. She
Yeah.
gives her the pumpkin carriage, which is really cool.
We got the glass slippers in
Yeah.
there. So it has all those little details, but again, it's like you're not really rooting for Cinderella in this story, and she is like, again, a lot of the characters feel they're well-rounded in like a very good way, where Elvira, while you're sympathetic of like everything she's going through, you're also seeing what it's doing to her psyche.
Yeah,
And
she's turning into a pick-me.
she's being like completely
Bippity boppity pick-me. Sorry.
just had to slip that in there.
Did.
She's being like completely overrun with jealousy.
Yeah. She's letting the jealousy just take over.
Just destroy her.
Yeah.
It is nice that she gets a kind of redeeming ending where by the end, she's completely just destroyed her body in the pursuit of this. But her younger sister still, like the whole movie, her sister stands by her and is sympathetic, and she becomes like her caregiver at the end.
Yeah, and I think it was really cool with the sister. I don't know if there was commentary on her sister possibly being non-binary, but also...
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, her sister like rejected all of the beauty standards. Like, fuck this. I see what it does to you. I don't want it to do it to me, which I think is so cool.
Maybe it's not my place to talk about this, but it did feel like, she was kind of overlooked early on because she hadn't yet had her period, which I guess means she's not a woman yet. Is that what it means?
That's what they say. But I just want to say, when you do get your period, still a child. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once that does happen for her, that seems to be the moment where she just rejects all of this, where she's just like, nah, I'm not going to be a traditional woman.
Yeah.
Fuck all this shit. Can't blame her. And meanwhile, like Agnes, who is the Cinderella character, I think you tried to explain where that, because I was like, where does that name come from?
Oh, I just looked it up quickly. I saw that Cinderella means little ashes.
Okay, because she's sweeping a lot.
I guess maybe I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, her character too is interesting because it's like you can't really hate her, but she's not like totally this like perfect princess hero like in the Disney story.
Well, yeah, but she also, you really get to see how much tragedy she went through.
Yeah.
Because like she loses her dad. She has no one else. Her mom's already dead. Now she's with these like strangers, living with these strangers, and they hate her.
Yeah.
So I kind of can't blame her. And she's not only grieving her dad, but her dad is just rotting in the living room.
Well, yeah. And I think it's like interesting just the way that she's not this perfect character who's like pursuing love, because she falls in love with like the stable boy. And it just, I guess she realizes that like, look, I can't live like that.
Yeah.
I gotta just marry the fucking prince. And the prince is a dickhead. He's not like this perfect figure either, but she just kind of is doing what she gotta do.
Yeah.
You know? So it's maybe like not the perfect love story that we get from the original Cinderella. I have no idea what the like Grimm's fairy tale version of this is like.
I'm not sure.
That's always interesting. I think this is like one of the only ones I feel like I have no idea what that story is. Maybe this is it. Maybe it's completely just adapting that. I probably should have looked into that, huh? But yeah, at the end of the day, it is like it does feel almost like unfair to just compare it to the substance. But the substance, I mean, it came in and it ate everybody's lunch, and now this is like what we're gonna compare these kind of movies to forever.
I think that's okay. I'm not even bothered to say like, oh, it's like the substance, because the substance had such a powerful message and
Yeah.
drove
Oh,
it
yeah.
home how it should be. So
It's a great movie.
yeah, and I think talking about how women or how anyone can be affected by odd beauty standards and the history of pain that is just involved with all of
It's
it.
an inherent in being a woman.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like it's easy to just take this concept and try to use that to like carry a movie across the finish line by itself, but this movie does so many interesting
Oh, yeah.
things that it just rises above that, you know?
I mean, it's tackling like family dynamics and dating,
Yes.
and yeah, there's a lot happening.
No stone unturned. At the end of the day, it is just a great body horror story that doesn't really pull any punches, and it's just fucking beautiful while it does it.
Yeah. And also, just to go back to like the Cinderella references,
Yeah.
there's also that portion where they come home, they see the pumpkin
Mhm.
sitting there, and then they also see Cinderella by the fire, basically like playing with the mice.
Oh yeah.
Because like those are like her only friends.
Yeah.
Because her whole family hates her. That's
She's got the little silkworms too. You know?
off of her dead dad.
Yeah. It was good. You can go to ghostbeast.com for all our links. You can also search for Ghost Beast Pod, and you can follow Ghost Beast on Letterboxd, where we rank everything we cover. I think I found a nice little sandwich. I put it above No One Will Save You and below Blackcoat's Daughter. Do you want it to go higher?
No, I think that's good. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard when you start looking up the list. I can't help.
Don't do
I
that.
can't help but look.
But that puts it at number 34 on our list. You can contact us at podcast@ghostbeast.com. What are your favorite substance likes?
What are your favorite like fairy tales turned inside out?
There we go.
That's what I want to know. I want to see more stuff like that.
Yeah, tell us. And you can follow us on YouTube, posting in there again. You can like and comment and subscribe and do all the internet things. Bye.